What's up, people? Learning to code it again today. Be cool if I could easily have access to the number of people that were on the stream. If I could have that on the same screen as my code, that would be great. Maybe I should pop this out. No, that doesn't work very well. Anybody know how to do that? But how's it going? If Mm-hmm. Alright. This is like my second live stream ever, so testing the chat. Chat appears in the top of the box. Cool. Hmm. Trying to figure out how the best way is to organize my screen to code, see the chat, see the number of viewers at any one time. It's very difficult. I don't have multiple monitors on this laptop. I have multiple monitors, but they connect to my other laptop. My monitors apparently don't have an HDMI port because they're stupid. That's not what I meant to do. I think maybe That's good. Cool. I think I can see everything now. All right, so where are we? We need to, we're in the asynchronous lesson. So as far as I can tell, asynchronous sections of code or blocks of code are run outside of the normal time stream of the code. So once you hit an asynchronous block, it'll kind of take that out and execute it in parallel with the rest of the code. So if you wanted to set a timer and you say you wait for a certain amount of time and then you execute this block, well, while that timer's running down, and then while you're executing that block of code, once the timer runs out, the rest of the code is all executing simultaneously. So so maybe a timer, or maybe you're asking a database for results. So you might send a message to a database, and while you're doing that, and maybe when you get that response back from the database, you're going to do something to that data. Well, maybe you don't want to wait for all that to happen to execute the rest of your code. So you can create that block of code to send the message and to get the data back and do something with the data. All of that could be in one block of code that happens asynchronous to the rest of the code. And then whatever the result is of that asynchronous block would get inserted into the normal time stream of the code whenever it finishes, whenever it resolves, as this lesson is telling me the term is. So I already did the await operator. I already did this lesson. I was on this lesson. Handling dependent promises. True beauty of async await. So we have a series of asynchronous actions which depend on one another. Okay. So you get a result from the database that maybe spawns a different message to be sent to that same database or something. You need to know what data is going to come back before you can send your next message, something like that. We want to make a network request based on a query to a database. In that case, we need to wait to make the network request until we had the results from the database. Okay, yeah, just like I was just saying. Okay, with native promise syntax, that's the older, that's the current ES6 syntax, so JavaScript syntax, whereas ES8 is the new one, the newest one, and that's going to be using async await. So async await, this whole function is in the brand new JavaScript syntax that isn't very widely used yet. Before async await, you have that's part of ES8. Before that, you have promises. You have native promise syntax, and that is what's mostly being used now. And then there was an even older version for ES5 that I learned before that, but I don't even remember what that is. I'd have to go back and look at that lesson again. But a lot of the websites probably still use that as well. So anyway, with native promise syntax, we use a chain of then functions to making sure to return correctly each one. So make a promise. So this is a function that executes two asynchronous. So in the native promise syntax, this is a function that executes two asynchronous actions. So you have two promises inside of this one function. So you're going to have a function that returns the first promise, so maybe that database query, something like that. And whatever you get back from that, you take that first value that you get back from that promise, that action, you log that to the console, and then and you return a second promise of the first value. So now your return is starting a second asynchronous action using that database result. So like that network request based off of the database query. And then once you get that back from the network request, so to speak, you take that value that you get back and you log that to the console. So these are the two asynchronous actions, the first promise and the second promise. The second promise uses the output of the first promise, and then you just log the output of the second. Cool. So let's break down what's happening inside the native promise version. Uses two functions to return promises. Yep, first promise, second promise, invoke first promise to ensure that that the first promise resolved by using then. In the callback of our first then, we log the resolved value of the first promise, first value, and then returns second promise, first value. Yep. Okay, so that was the old syntax. That's the native. That's the native Java. That's the native promise syntax of ES6, which is most widely used currently. But we're trying to use the newest version in ES8, the newest JavaScript syntax, which is async await. So let's dive into that. Here's how we'd write an async function to accomplish the same thing. Okay. So you have that upper level function again, and then oh, silly me. I didn't have screen share on. All right. All right. So now we have our upper level async function. Okay. We're gonna define a variable that's equal to the output of the first promise action, and we're gonna wait to assign that value until this is done. So as long as this thing is pending, we're gonna wait. But as soon as it's resolved, then we're gonna set the resolved value as equaling first value. Okay, and then we're gonna log that. Now we're going to let the second value equal the resolved value of second promise, which is based on the first promise, and just like above. But we had to use then. We had to start the thing. We had to start the promise and then use .then and define a function based on the first value. That logged it and then started the second one, and then you had to use the output of that to console.log that. It's a little complicated, whereas now it reads more like normal code, in that you're just defining variables, and the variables are set to the resolved value of the promises. Okay. Yep. Inside we create a variable first value. Assign weight. This means the first value will be assigned the resolved value of the awaited promise. Okay. And create a variable second value assigned to await first value. Yep. All right. Cool. Can you guys see the cursor, by the way? Yeah, you guys can see the cursor. Cool. Oh, don't want to touch the mic. Sorry. I have a habit of fiddling with my sweatshirt strings, and that's where my mic is attached. All right. Step number one. I think step number one is just understanding what they already have here. So we're importing or requiring in. We're importing three functions that they define for us: shop for beans, soak the beans, and cook the beans. Cool. These functions each return a promise. Okay. Shop for beans expects no arguments, returns a promise which will resolve to a string of a bean type. Okay. Soak the beans expects a bean type string, has an argument, and returns a promise which resolves to a Boolean indicating whether or not the beans are softened. Okay, so this one's pretty much going to resolve immediately. Because I'm guessing it's just it's going to return a promise which will resolve to a string of a bean type, but I can't imagine it'll take long for whatever code to run to return the string of a bean type, to choose a bean type. Whereas soak the beans might have a timer or something built into the code, so that after the promise is pending for a certain amount of time, it'll resolve to softened. It resolves to a Boolean indicating whether or not the beans are softened. Well, maybe not, because it's just resolving to a Boolean rather than waiting for the beans to be soft, so to speak. All right, cook the beans expects a Boolean as an argument, and if that is true, that value is true, returns a promise which will resolve to a string announcing that dinner is ready. Okay. So these are all related. The output of this is of this promise, once it's resolved and has a certain bean type, will then get passed to this, where you'll know whether or not the beans are soft, and then whether or not they're soft determines if they're ready or not. I don't know why they called cook the beans. I feel like this should have been cook the beans, and this was, I don't know, beans are ready or something, but whatever. If you'd like, look at the library.js file. I would like to check that out a little bit. So these are the functions that they're defining for us. Now, here's the thing. I don't have to. Like, I could go into step 2 and like follow the step and probably figure out, based off of this stuff up here, the syntax that I would need to get through these steps. But I don't want to do that. immediately. I kind of want to know what they're doing in here to get a background and an understanding of the whole function, the whole library of tools that are being used. Not necessarily because I need to know all the details in order to finish this lesson, but because it'll just help my overall understanding of how these things fit together. And that's what I'm trying to do in general, is learn to code. So, shop for beans is a function that returns a new promise, has a resolve and reject. You have different bean types. You have an array of different bean types. You have a timer. And after 1 second, it will begin this code. After 1 second, it'll execute getting a random number from 1 to 5, so assign to one of these, and then assign it to a bean type of a random index 1 to 5. And so you're gonna log I bought blank bean type or blank beans because they were on sale. Okay, so you're gonna console.log that, but what's really important here is that then you have the resolve syntax. So you're returning a new promise up here. And let's see, is this resolve inside? Yeah, this resolve is inside of this promise. So resolve is an argument for the promise. I already learned this in another lesson a couple times ago, but if you don't look at this stuff more than once, then you forget it. So in general, when you're trying to learn something new, you actually learn it faster by going slower. I'm not going to rush through all the steps. I need to understand what's going on. So resolves an argument of the promise, and then the syntax down below. Is this still inside of the set timeout? Yeah. Okay. Resolve bean type. And bean type was the output of that random selection between this array. Okay, so after 1 second, when you run shop for beans in here, we're importing shop for beans. We're just importing the function. But once I invoke it, shop for beans. Once I invoke it like that, if I ran it right now, it would run this function. So this function returns a new promise. It returns a new promise that creates an array of random bean types, and then after waiting 1 second, it chooses a random bean type, logs that to the console, and returns the resolve it resolves to a bean type. Okay, yeah. So I guess you don't have to return the resolved value. If you put resolve bean type, you don't have to put return inside of this promise, I suppose, which is good for me to know, because most functions like this need to return something in order for you to really use it after the function. So this returns the promise. And the promise itself is a function. So I needed to know, so I just learned that the promise doesn't need the resolve, you don't need to return the resolved value. You just need to use this syntax. Okay, cool. Same thing. once you start the promise in a console.log, you're going to wait you're going to start a timer, you're going to wait 1 second, then you're going to log this, and the bean, after 1 second, you're going to say the beans are softened and resolve to true. Huh. Interesting. It doesn't say that it's ever resolved to false. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking up here, that this would need some sort of timer at first. But when I read this, it said which resolves to a Boolean indicating whether or not the beans are softened. But not really. It resolves to a Boolean indicating that the beans are softened, not whether or not, because there is no possible way that it will resolve to false. Might throw an error code if you fuck up somewhere, but cook the beans. Let's cook the beans, guys. All right. Let's cook the beans. Is softened. Where did we set? do we define is softened? No. Is softened is. Huh. Where did we create is softened? Or is that... I don't think we created it. So that's just... That's the Boolean. That's the Boolean up here. Okay. But we haven't passed that in yet. That gets done in app.js. You'll pass this Boolean in as an argument to cook the beans. Okay. But once you pass that Boolean in, you return a new promise. That's going to say time to cook the beans. You set a timer, and you say if is softened, which it is because it'll resolve to a true value. Well, unless it's pending. It could be pending. It will never be false, but it could be but the promise itself could be pending. But I don't think it will be, because we're going to code in app.js. This will happen before this. Soak the beans will happen before cook the beans. Because they both have a 1 second timer, you should never be still pending on soak the beans when you start the code for cook the beans. So this should always be true. Should, I don't know. Sometimes shit happens. Set a timer. If the beans are soft, you're gonna log the beans are cooked, and you're gonna resolve to dinner is served. /n/n. That's a new syntax that I haven't seen in JavaScript. It reminds me of when I was coding in MATLAB in college. It reminds me of a line spacing. So like each of these is a line, like a space down. So the beans are cooked is going to log into the console. And then it's not going to automatically do anything, but if app.js then console.logs this resolved value, then it's actually going to skip 2 lines before it writes dinner is served. And then you export it. I feel like this was the old syntax, but I don't remember. I'd have to go check. And although I said I like to be thorough and know what everything's doing, that doesn't really relate to the asynchronous lesson I'm on. So I will do that some other time. Whereas all this definitely relates to the asynchronous function that I'm working on. Okay, back to app.js. You require in or import these 3 functions. I didn't remember this syntax, so I'm gonna like put it to my memory real quick. You're gonna declare 3 constants at a time using curly brackets, which is interesting. But yeah, equal to, and then you're gonna require the file name. Okay. All right, I'm gonna delete that for now. Check my work. Cool. Didn't do anything. In the following checkpoints, yay, I've extended my streak to 15 days in a row. Woo! In the following checkpoints, I'll create an asynchronous function that handles the 3 dependent promises we just walked through. It will simulate shopping for, soaking, and cooking the beans. Guys, we're going to cook the beans. Cook the beans. To get started, you'll declare an asynchronous function. Make the beans. We're going to make them. Okay. Async. Make beans. Now, I don't actually remember the syntax for this async function. Do I have to declare it as a function? Or... Okay, this was the way it has you do it. It has you write function before that, but I want to see if... Hi, Trevor. My comments aren't open. Why aren't they open? Can you open the chat? Some messages, such as potential spam, may not be visible. Live chat. All messages are visible. Alright. Well, I don't know about the comments, but I have the chat window open, so if you can find that, that'd be cool. Hey! Hello. I can see your chat, yeah. I can't see you because you're not streaming. We're making beans, Trevor. We're making some beans. I don't know which type of beans yet. That's part of the code. You were both of the people watching. Yeah, sometimes it says that I have like 2 viewers, but I'm pretty sure they're both me a lot of times. All right, well, that was easy. All I had to do was... I can't tell what that is. I hover over it and it says, oops. Is that a monkey with a hammer? Inside your function, declare a variable type assigned to the resolved value of shop for beans. Shop for beans. Nice. It's super riveting watching the code. I gotta figure out how to like make this entertaining somehow. Thank you. It's a gorilla. So shop for beans had that that array that it shows a random value and from 1 to 5 and assigned it to the index of the array. And now we're gonna declare a variable type. What type? I never really know if I should be using let or const. There are two different variable. One you can't reassign, so a constant is a constant. You can't reassign it to a different value, but let you can. But I just haven't used it enough to know when to use each one. What happened at USAFA today? I saw somebody tested positive for coronavirus. Is that what you're talking about? What type equal the resolved value for shop for beans? I don't know if I need to. Must be accomplished in one statement. Await. Okay, so now we're going to use the await because we're waiting for it to resolve, and we're going to do shop for beans. Nope, not that. In 3 days. What do you mean in 3 days? Is something happening in 3 days? Next, inside your function, declare a variable is soft. Let is soft equal. I'm guessing we're going to do, before I even read the rest of that paragraph, equals. Did it block your comment? Yeah, it says. Yeah, I read, nope, not that. In 3 days, and that's it. Did it block my comment? Oh, really? Wow. Ouch. It's spreading. Maybe it'll go to 6 next. I mean, I don't know if there's a delay on your comments or if there's a delay in my video getting to you. It's probably a little bit both ways. That sucks though. Maybe it'll, maybe the whole. I'm not both people watching. Yeah, I think. Hello, other person. If there is another person, I never know because I think there's always at least one viewer, and I think that's me. So I think one of them is me and one of them is you. But if there's another person, hello. We're learning to code. This is JavaScript. We're making beans. What squadron's Hannah in again? Soft. Oh, wait. No, I fucked up. Damn it! Your function should declare a variable is. Wow, good guy, Trevor. You. Your function should declare a variable is soft assigned to await soak the bean. Oh, right, I forgot to pass in the output. So we had a certain type of beans, but we need to know what type of beans we're soaking. So type. Cool. variable dinner. I think I know where we're going here. Dinner is equal, and that's gonna, remember, that's is soft is the Boolean thing. That's gonna say whether or not they're soft. So we're gonna await, and if they are soft, then we're going to declare what the last one, which is cook the beans. Cook the beans. 10. I fucked up again. Oh, because I literally made the same mistake. Is soft. That's okay. Next, inside your function, log your dinner. Inside the function. So this is still asynchronous. .log. Oh, log the dinner variable. And the dinner variable was, the output was a string that had the 2 line spacing plus your dinner's ready or whatever. Beneath your function declaration, invoke make beans. All right, now we're going to run our asynchronous function. Make beans. Let's see your async function in action. Okay, so we haven't actually run our code. We've checked our work every time using Code Academy's whatever code checker, whatnot, but now we're going to run it. App.js. I have but fava beans. We're doing some fava beans, and we 2 line spaces. That's what I thought. So the backslash n that we saw here was indeed line spaces, just like I learned in MATLAB. Okay, cool. Done with that lesson. What did I learn? What did I learn I didn't know before? I guess we string together multiple awaits. We already learned async await in the last couple lessons, but now we put multiple together, where the output from this one we used as the argument for this one, and they all await. So this waits for this, and this waits for this, but this can't resolve until you get a type, and so this is actually waiting and dependent on this. So the code's gonna go through all of these, and well, no, it's not. It's not, because the function is asynchronous to other code, but within the async function, it's gonna go in order. So we're not gonna start the dinner variable until you've resolved is soft. If I declare a variable down here, let I don't know, x equal 2, and then I said console.log of x. Actually, I made the mistake of thinking that if I put it here, it would happen after the function, but we haven't invoked the function yet. So if we move, we're just experimenting now. So if we move that here, so we're going to invoke make the beans, and then we're going to define a variable x and console.log x. We're actually going to console.log x before you do any of this, because this is asynchronous. So they're going to be happening simultaneously, but because you're going to invoke this and go into here, into this function, you're going to do let type. You're going to describe the variable type, and you're going to wait for shop beans. And because shop beans was waiting 1 second in here, in shop for beans, we had a set timeout of 1 second. So because we're waiting 1 second, this is actually going to run a lot sooner than you're going to resolve this, and therefore this and this. And so if I run this, I never know if I actually have to click check work in order to save the code, but whatever. Node app.js. We're expecting to have the number 2 in the console, and then to have all of the bean stuff. 2, bean stuff. Cool. Beautiful. I'm a master. I know JavaScript now. I could probably just like forget all this Code Academy stuff and just go code my own Facebook now. Handling errors. Yeah, I guess I can go try to do that until I hit an error. And I don't know how to handle it because apparently I need to know how to handle errors. You know what I just realized? Now that I'm looking at my OBS, is that because I shortened my window here, my window that holds this code, my Code Academy, and I thought it would show you the whole screen, but it shows you the size of the window, so it cuts off the bottom for you guys. Sorry about that. I don't know how to fix. The only way to really fix this, I mean, I can extend my window to all the way down, but then I can't see the chat and I can't see the number of viewers. So really the only way to fix this is to get other monitors, which I actually have 2 monitors right here, but they only work for my other laptop, not this laptop, unfortunately. They don't have an HDMI port because they suck. So, all right. Okay, so promise chain was kind of like the linking together of those asynchronous steps. I feel like I should try to. Sorry, I feel like I should try to get this full screen for you. I don't really know how to do that though. Anybody know if there's any way that in Windows, if you have if I want the chat on my screen overlaid like on top of my code window, but I want to still type in the code window, I don't want the chat to go behind the code window. Is there a way to do that in Windows? I don't know. I'll have to look that up after this live stream. But this is taking way too long because I've now been streaming for how long now? Almost an hour, and I've only done 1 lesson. Okay. We need to pick it up. Trevor, you're distracting me. Okay, so this is saying, so .catch is kind of like if the thing doesn't return as a resolved value, it catches the error or whatever else comes out of it. And if you have a long promise chain, so multiple asynchronous steps in a row, you don't exactly know where that error happened. So we're gonna, and that's with the native promise syntax, not the async await syntax. So with async await, the brand new ES8 syntax, we use try catch. Okay. Okay, so I guess with the old syntax, you had to wait for the resolve value to come back or an error to come back from the promise in order to, and then use catch in the synchronous code to log an error or to catch an error. Whereas this, I think, is trying to attempt to, as soon as you hit an error in the asynchronous code, I don't know, catch that and return that to the console or something immediately? I don't know. Let's try to... Well, here's the... I have a feeling that try catch is only used for debugging. We use try catch statements for error handling. Yep, you told me right there. So we're going to do try, and then we have just our normal async function having variables waiting on the resolved value of promises. You're going to try that, and then you're going to try both of them, which is kind of strange, and then you're going to catch error console.log error. Where does it get error from? Catch, try catch, error. Catches any errors in the try block. Okay, so I guess this the syntax, the keyword catch itself already knows to look for errors in particular. Try this. Any errors will get caught by catch, and then you're going to console.log error. And I guess you could probably rename this to whatever you want, but it will be you can rename this whatever you want, but it'll always be equal to the error that's output from try. Interesting. Okay. This is interesting because this async function doesn't return. I guess it returns a promise, but we don't return anything. We don't write the word return, nor do we write the word resolve. How does it know that the resolved value of this function is equal to resolve value? I know we named it resolve value, but I could rename this whatever I want. So how does this function, when you run it, know? So down here you're going to invoke using promise catch. Well, if using promise catch resolved, it's not going to resolve, but if it did, I guess maybe you probably would have to write, you probably would, the code is just messing with me. I'm pretty sure that after this line you have to write, if you expect to need to use this resolve value, you should write resolve, but maybe I'm wrong. Let me go back real quick, check it out. Okay, so here we have a function, an async function, prints, yay, I resolved. We set the variable, set value equal to the resolution of this promise. That's fine. It resolves, and then you console.log that. So if you declare this function, this async function, it's gonna log that. Okay. That doesn't really help me very much. I'm trying to figure out if, what am I trying to figure out? If I wanted to use resolved value outside, in this code, outside of the async function. Hello. We're now making a bean souffle, by the way. I haven't made it very far. I'm just trying to understand some stuff. Sometimes it like leaves stuff out of like code blocks in the example, just to, I think they're trying to make it easier for me to learn what I'm supposed to in this lesson, but sometimes it also makes it more difficult for me to understand overall. So like, we're learning async functions. We're defining this variable. Bean souffle is gross. I've never had a souffle actually. I know, right? It's starting to come back, but not really. It'll take a couple of weeks now again. Damn Air Force. I need, so this variable, what this lesson's trying to teach me is just what to do if this function fails. So I never need this variable. I never need this variable, but I want to know that if I needed to use that variable outside of the function down here, can I use it, or do I need a line of code here that says that says return resolve value or something like that? Probably. Like you would never define a variable like this unless you were going to use it. And this function is not using it because it's trying to teach me what to do when it fails. But that's just confusing me because I want to know what, yeah, anyway. All right. This is sometimes used. All right. Let's try to learn what they're telling me to learn. So the resolved, or the, not resolved, but the non-pending value, the output value from the async function, which is a promise, is going to be assigned to rejected promise. So rejected promise dot catch. Where did it get? Oh, if you use the dot catch, it's automatically going to use whatever the rejected value was. We assign it to a variable called reject value, but you can call it whatever you want. So like dot catch automatically inputs whatever the output value is there. I know, very in the weeds. Are you still on the phone with Sean? What are you up to? I also like to spill on myself. It's very difficult. I've got my berry sparkling water and my coffee, cold brew coffee. Getting ready for bed. It is 11 there, isn't it? That sucks. I'm still drinking coffee. I think I was gonna play Halo with some people after I finish this. Reminds me I need to text Nirov. $10 to 12-second delay. That's not too bad. I mean, it's worse than I would hope because, I mean, you can play online video games, which to me tells me you can send data back and forth within a millisecond, but you can't, yeah, whatever. But again, I don't know if it's the chat. So the chat might be instantaneous. Nice. I think you told me the topic of your thesis, but I don't remember. The delays, but like there's a delay difference between when you're looking at your phone and when you're looking at your computer. Cost stability in ICT programs. Oh, that's right. I don't remember what. Cost stability. Like, cost stability is in, does it work out the way you predicted? Or constant over time? How much does it fluctuate? That kind of thing? Hmm. Okay. And you're comparing the two different types of development. How far into the program I can realistically make changes to beneficially impact the cost. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's so many programs that are so far over budget, and they just keep trying because they've already put in so much money. It'd be good if you could figure it out earlier somehow, but I mean, I guess if you're over budget on a program that you thought was important enough to start, then people are more likely to say, well, how can you save costs than to say cancel the program. MDAP's acquisition program. There are 5 phases a plane will go through. Budget at the end. Okay. And you're looking at different types of acquisition projects. You mentioned waterfall versus agile. Like the difference between the two. That's cool though. 5 phases of planning. I wonder if contracts have anything to do with that, like the type of contract you're on. I'm sure it does, but I guess a lot of acquisition programs use a similar contracting method at each phase, pretty much in software programs. No retracers are done into them like we have with plans and acquisition projects. Okay. So where's most of the cost risk in software acquisition programs? Yeah. Mods are statistically more likely to be on budget than new builds. I guess I'd expect that, yeah. That's interesting though. So we do a lot of the development I'm involved with is both hardware and software. Usually we're working off the idea that Agile can be more cost efficient because you have more iterations and you know earlier on whether you're on budget or not. Yeah, that makes sense. Get as much get as much done. I guess they're just periodic status checks. I was wondering if like the projects that I work on are both hardware and software, and sure they were really expensive up front, and I think they were over budget as well. But later on, when they weren't expecting changes to need to be made to, I mean, they don't even make changes to hardware anymore, even though they probably should. But when they don't expect changes to software now, but even a small change costs a lot of money because they weren't expecting it and it wasn't built into the contract. So they have to update the contract to include that scope of work. And the contractor has a lot of leverage, or the developer has a lot of leverage in that negotiation. So software development in the later stages tends to be a lot more expensive than in the earlier stages because of how the contract has worked. I don't know if that factors into what you're doing at all. I don't know. But that's been really frustrating. Is like if we find something that if my team finds something that needs to be changed that's pretty small, even if it's very important, people don't. If it's very important and it's not a lot of work, people still fight it because it'll be so expensive. Just because the developer has so much negotiating power at that point. It's like they've already spent all of this money and they know it's an important thing to change. All right, so the second part of my thesis is what critical success factors for ICT programs. I guess that makes, yeah. I didn't really think about it as requirements creep, but that's exactly what I was talking about. My team in particular, unfortunately, has the situation where it doesn't really matter. So we have requirements set out in the beginning, but it doesn't necessarily matter if what we discover in the design is a requirement or not. We just have to, if we find something that's wrong, it has to be fixed. So that, yeah, I guess that's requirements creep. Usually it's something that's wrong. Usually it's a requirement failure, but sometimes it's not. And that's when it gets really expensive. All right, I gotta finish doing this. Declare an async function. Host dinner party. Okay, so we've got the bean the bean souffle that is being cooked for us in this file. We didn't need to cook it, but we're going to host the dinner party. And we're going to debug it using try catch. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Why are you making me talk about work? Work sucks. It's like literally the worst thing to talk about on a Saturday night. It's the last thing I want to talk about. I mean, to be fair though, I mean, at least if you're talking in the abstract, it's program management, which is something that I want to be involved in long term, especially software. So I don't really mind that much. Declare an async function. The catch statement should specify the identifier error. And if I remember, it's catch. It's kind of like the if-else syntax, where catch and then the argument is the error, and it's automatically going to take any errors. Yeah, it's distracting. Thank you. I do actually need practice with that, so you can leave both try and catch blocks empty. Both try and catch blocks empty. Okay, so leave try and catch blocks empty. I think the function was host dinner party. All right, async host. Oh, I used the function syntax last time, so I want to try the other syntax. Is it constant? Host dinner party equals function without an argument. Equals. And where was try? Was try? I think it was inside the function. Try. Yeah, right after. It's the next line. Try. Leave that empty. I think catch goes here. Catch error. And it's another one of those. Check. Cool. Inside the try block. Okay, it said log, but I think I need another line here. I need a variable to be defined. That's not an L. I'm also learning to type. I can type pretty fast, but I make a lot of mistakes. So I'm trying to learn proper hand placement and whatever, so I can type more consistently. What do I want? Resolved value. I forget what even the thing was. When it resolves with the value of bean souffle. When it rejects with the value of dinner is ruined. Okay. Let resolve value equals await cook bean souffle. I have a lot of errors right now, more than usual, just because I'm not used to type, and it's a lot slower just because I'm not used to typing like this, but I'm getting better. So cooked bean souffle, and then I think I want backticks so that I can still use quotation marks inside of my log. And I forget what this is called, but there's a $sign thing to use variables inside of your string output. Resolved value is served. Fuck. I have a syntax error somewhere. Let resolved value equal resolved value. Spelled those the same. Okay, so inside a try I have let await cooked bean souffle. Did I spell souffle right? Yeah. Didn't take any arguments, I don't think. I haven't figured it out, but sometimes the semicolons fuck things up. No. I liked those though. I mean, yeah. Sometimes the check your work thing is smart, and it can understand. It just looks like the output to know if you're doing it right. But sometimes it expects it to be done a certain way. So like I used backticks here rather than quotation marks, so that I could use this syntax rather than having to do like this string in quotes plus variable plus this string in quotes, which sucks. But if it's expecting the other format, then it might call this wrong, even though it's right. But I might have also just fucked something up. But I don't see anything, so I'm going to get a hint and see. Okay, let dinner equal await. Oh, did it tell me to use the variable dinner? You can, okay, yeah, that's fine. Equals await cooked bean souffle log dinner is served. Well, what the fuck? It's literally the same thing. This is why sometimes it's really frustrating. This thing tells you it's wrong, but I can't find anything wrong with it. What if I just changed the name of the variable to dinner, just like they did, even though they didn't tell me to? I expect that sometimes just the people that are making the lessons fucked up. People aren't perfect. That wasn't it. But what's great is, watch this. I'll copy and paste this. At one time I copy and pasted it and it didn't work. But I'm going to try to see, so dinner. I'm going to try to see when I paste this if anything changed. Ah. Oh. Do you see anything? I don't see anything. Literally just like moved over, which, okay. It still says it's wrong. Alright, let's delete it. And then we're gonna paste it. And we're gonna check it. And it's still wrong. Nice. I hate when it does that because then I have all these steps down here. Like I can view the solution, but it's going to tell me the solution to all of it. And I don't want it to tell me the solution to all of it. I want to do the rest. So I'm going to do it while it's gray. Let's fill in the catch block. Log the error to the console and log the string ordering a pizza. We fucked up. Dinner's ruined. Ordering a pizza. Console. The one good thing about type is that console's my name, so it's pretty easy for me to type the word console. Error. I was gonna say, wouldn't it be nice if all I had to do was type in ordering a pizza into the console and a pizza will arrive at my door? But that's pretty much what we have now. I can literally just ask Google to order me a pizza, and I could probably do it on just from Google Assistant. Because Google's pretty great now. Now that everything's kind of integrated. I like not having to use Google, which is why I do that instead of Apple things. But because I use the Assistant, because I have Google Pay and all that stuff, and my accounts through Google, as long as my phone is locked by a password and a fingerprint and maybe two-factor, I can do pretty much everything through the Assistant. Beneath your function declaration, invoke host dinner party. Is that okay? Function declaration. There. Host dinner party. Do I need to assign that to a variable? I guess not. But the good thing is I can run this without checking my work. Then I will actually know if I fucked up or not. Syntax error. Maybe I did fuck up somewhere. Well, that's not right, because it's telling me the syntax error is way up there. But it told me that was fine. Do you like my glasses? I don't need them. I've been thinking about buying the blue light glasses though, that filter for blue light. I'm considering it, but they're kind of expensive. And most of the time I'm at work and I get up and walk around a lot, so I don't look at screens for long periods of time. But now that I'm working from home, I get headaches sometimes because I'm staring at the screen for a long time. Makes me look like a nerd. That's kind of the nerd. Yeah. That's good. That's the goal. I want to look like a nerd. Notice that literally at no point has concurrent viewers gone to 3. I don't really know how to get one more person, you know? Like I understand that this isn't the most interesting thing, but I'm curious about how people find. I thought live streaming would be easier to find than what's it called? Just normal YouTube videos. Because I don't know, when people see the word live, or you can even go to the live channel, there's a whole live stream channel, and you can see all the live videos. There's less of those than normal YouTube videos, obviously, so it'd be easier to find a live stream. I need to figure this out. Host dinner party, invoked, and it's giving me, okay, it's saying that that's wrong. What if I just do that? It told me earlier that that line was fine, but no. So I can declare it like the normal function, which is what I did in the last lesson, but I don't really like that syntax very much. So I'm going to go back and see how not await. Okay, so you declare it by doing constant name equals async parentheses. Okay. That's what I wanted. It's just not a super exciting topic. You're right. Yeah, I gotta figure out how to make it interesting, but for now. Well, I guess the last time, every time if I go quicker, if you don't distract me so much, but when I when I finish the last one I did a couple days ago, after every lesson I did, I kind of talked about I don't know, learning new things and working on improving your skills and that kind of stuff, which I think was a little more interesting. But yeah, I kind of just me working on code for an hour or more isn't super exciting. So I was thinking maybe it'd be more of like a working channel, like you just put it on in the background while you're working on stuff yourself. But I don't know how to get the initial draw, right? So I guess I would need more than one type of live stream or more than one type of video to attract people to the channel, and then use those viewers to have the working live stream, something like that. It's all your fault. Constant host dinner party equals async. There we go. That's not what I meant to do. Maybe that was what was wrong down here. Hey, I got it. Okay, check work. Check work. Made it all the way through. We now know what was wrong. I just had the wrong syntax for declaring the async function, but for some reason it let me pass step 2, which was declaring an async function with the incorrect syntax. Whatever. App.js. Bean souffle is served. All right, Trevor, eat up. We got some bean souffle. I think it was fava beans. Was that right? Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I had done a couple live streams for BizBoys, but I didn't really get the details down. So I did a lot more work now on frame rate and stuff. A couple days ago, I had my phone over there on my ring light, and so I was able to like turn and talk to the camera, and have also this camera, um, which was good. And I wanted to turn to that, but the software I was using, um, the software I was using to connect my phone to my computer to stream that wasn't letting me put enough, didn't have enough throughput. So I was using a free service called IP Webcam to stream video from my phone over to a URL, and then use the output of that URL to, in OBS to stream that to YouTube, which was a lot of different steps, and OBS couldn't handle it, or maybe IP Webcam couldn't handle it. That's more likely. So I stopped using the phone cam for now. I ordered a webcam that I can connect directly to the laptop and do that, and then I'll have a better setup. So I guess, yeah, this is less to entertain and get a huge audience, and more just to learn live streaming. Definitely don't have a show going right now. It's more complicated than it needs to be. It wasn't very hard to set up, so it wasn't like that complicated of a setup, but it was just like on an app on my phone, just start the stream from my phone, and then go to a URL on my laptop, and then copy and paste that URL onto OBS, and then it would be in OBS. And OBS is what you use to stream to YouTube. So yeah, I guess there were a lot of steps, but it wasn't that hard to set up, but it just wasn't working. I need some, because you can't, for some reason, you can't just connect your phone to your USB port and use it as a video capture device. I don't know why, but you can do that with a webcam. You could take a webcam and connect it to the USB port in your laptop and use it as a video device. So I don't really know why you can't do that with a phone. I feel like that would be an easy fix, but oh well. At the same time, I kind of like having my phone while doing this, because before it was over there, so I couldn't touch my phone for the time. All right, let me try to get through this, because where am I at? I've done these two. I've got 2 more lessons before I'm done. That'd be too easy, right? Yeah. Fucking assholes. I guess it's Google's fault. Google's pretty responsive. Maybe I should just send them something. Maybe they'd actually fix it. Remember that await halts the execution. I feel like they would like that. Well, I don't know. If they could even put software on the phone that comes with the phone for streaming, like as part of the camera app, put it into streaming mode. I don't know. I feel like that'd be some pretty easy software to build, since it already exists. And a wireless transfer would probably be too much to ask for, but it comes with a USB cable to plug into your laptop, so it shouldn't be hard for Google to do, but maybe I'm asking too much. What if our... Well, I would like it, so it should be worth their time because I need it, and I'm obviously their primary concern is me, their one customer. Oh, that's interesting. This is true. Which I think that's why people like Elon Musk so much. It's a good first start. um, yeah, I think that's why people like Elon Musk so much, is because they can. Not everybody can, because he doesn't have that much time, but he responds to individual people on Twitter. So he'll look through the Twitter feed for people respond to putting Tesla feedback, and if it sounds like something that's easily fixable, he says, "Hey, we'll look into putting in that function, or we'll look into fixing that, or whatnot." That's why I like him, at least. He's cool. This is interesting. So console.log await first promise, await second promise. I'm curious if await, if this one didn't have an await in front of it, would it log this and then wait for this to resolve and then log that? I mean, he's in the energy sector, the transportation sector, the communications sector, like really all the major needs that create a society. He's trying to create the future of. So if anybody had the ability to rule the world, he probably has the one of the best chances. In, I already understand exactly what this is doing, so I'm just going to try to get through this. You can go to bed anytime, by the way. Obviously. Create four variables. Let vegetable. Are we still making beans? Promise. Equal, and we want all of these to be concurrent. So steam broccoli. Prumice. I just don't want you to feel obligated to sit here and watch me code. You're obviously not providing enough entertainment value to draw more viewers, so Not that you're obligated to do that. Let protein. Oh no, I can't spell. Let protein. Oh my god. This is not. I'm dying. Equal fake chicken. It's because you're not taking your clothes on. Maybe I can like use a Snapchat filter to make me look like a hot girl. What makes the chat block messages? I don't know what you mean. Is it blocking some of your messages? Certain words won't go through the filter. So like, sweet. Ah, interesting. That's strange. I didn't realize it did that. I don't really like that. Maybe I should move to Twitch. No, I want that to be in the async function. I can't spell my own name. That's bromide. Can you hear music, by the way? I have, well, at least I had background music going. I don't know if it's still going. Yeah, it's still going. Can you hear music? I don't know if that window, well, yeah. I don't know. Once each function has been invoked, you can't hear music. Let me see. Might just not be. How about now? Oh, maybe I need to put desktop audio as a source. Sources. Now you can? Oh, okay. I just had it too low, I guess. I gotta try to get it at the right level. Is this a good volume level to hear both the mic clearly and the music, or should I turn the music down more right now? This is good? Cool. Maybe one less. One less on the audio. Just keep it there. Appreciate it. I could see that it was picking up audio, but I didn't know where on the slider it should go. The only way is for me to pull it up on like my other laptop and try to like listen to it on there through a video to see if. And then the timing is weird because I say something with music and then I have to pause it and listen and see if it worked, but then it stops because I paused it. It's annoying. It's easier for me to just ask you. And now I can just keep it there forever. Oh, it wanted a string. Oh, you can put a weight in there. Dinner served. We're having that, comma, that, and fog, backtick. Dinner is served. I'm still part of the, what did you say? Go away. Not you. God damn it. Just ask the chat in the... This is going to be really fucking annoying. I have the chat right over where Microsoft puts my Facebook notifications, my messages. So they're popping up right in front of the chat. Don't lie to me. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I'm still part of the Honor Guard Facebook chat, and they just talk way too much. But I usually just have notifications off. But they started a new one, so I'm getting notifications. But somebody was just like, "Who the fuck died now?" Dinner is served. We're having $, curly bracket, wait. $, curly bracket. No. Oh, that's right, the back tip. What the fuck am I doing wrong? Dinner is served. Oh, did I need an exclamation point or something? Or a period? I think I needed a period here. Nope. Oh, I didn't have and. Yeah. They're restricted to the firsties are the only ones there, and they're all restricted to base now, right? Is there any others? Are they allowed to leave their rooms on a normal basis? Do they have like room service? How do they eat? Is it Mitchell Hall? Is there just like a lot of like? Is it like grab and go and styrofoam containers from Mitchell Hall or something? See your function in action. Need to. Yeah, just the Mitch's is open. Apps and gym are closed. Gym's closed. Well, I guess that makes sense, but that like, a lot of people love the gym. People must hate that. Cadets are threatened with tours if they get within 6 feet of each other. Oh, I heard that. Yeah. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, they're definitely not handling that right. But maybe, I mean, maybe the cadets will, I'm not really surprised they weren't taking it seriously, but maybe they'll take it more seriously now and it will be less of an issue now that somebody actually tested positive. They might be freaked out now. Oh, I also have to figure out how to, I know, so there's a big black spot below the code, right? So like down here is all black. Down here. All right. Let's see. Oh, and still AMI is like 3 times a week. What the fuck? But 3 classes are gone. Why would they still do AMIs if? Oh god. If everybody else is just chilling at home. That's not fair. That's ridiculous. They don't have AMIs. Well, I guess sometimes they have AMIs in the summer, don't they? I don't remember. Anyway, I gotta figure out how to make the bottom of the screen not black. I can extend this, but then I can't see the chat and stuff. I really just need more monitors. I just need monitors that can take HDMI ports, because they have 2 monitors right there, but they don't take HDMI, so I'm just kind of fucked. So, and I don't know if that'll go through. Oh no, that went through. You said because fuck them. Yeah. Await promise all. Get with the times. Me? Oh, yeah, I need monitors. They're my... I I hijacked them from base because they're for my work computer, which is what I'm listening to right now. Actually, I have synthwave music on this one and ASMR on this one, which is great. But they don't have it, and it's plugged into my work computer, which is running those. But they don't have HDMI. And I don't have an I have an adapter for VGA to DisplayPort because that's what my work computer is, but not VGA to HDMI. Because apparently the government needs monitors that don't take HDMI but VGA only, and they need laptops that don't take HDMI. They only do DisplayPort. It's kind of like, I don't know what their deal is. I think I understand what's going on there, so I'm gonna keep going. Yeah. The government needs to get with the times. That's really the thing. But I guess I could buy my own monitors, and I might now. Once we go back to work, I might buy my own monitors because this is pretty nice having everything set up this way. It's just I don't spend a lot of time home when I go to work in person. So I feel like they just kind of go to waste. But whatever. When is that happening? Are you buying any? Do you have your eyes on any more property in Ohio? Ah, right. Ohio's still your number one, right? Yeah. It's interesting because interest rates are probably going to be lower, meaning zero. Well, I mean, not for home loans, but in general, interest rates are zero, so home loan interest rates should go down even more than they already are. Which would be crazy if you got a home loan for like 2%. That'd be ridiculous. I'm sorry, I'm not there. But blame it on the Air Force. It was I literally had bids on me for my number 1 and number 2 choice, which were both in Dayton, and they didn't send me to Dayton. I did what I could. I'm sorry. I forgot the await, which is what this lesson is for. So that's the first thing. Oh, I capitalized all. All isn't capitalized. Yeah, they're really dumb. Like, they have so many problems with just in general, and one of their biggest issues is retainment. So what do they do to fix retainment? Well, they set up a new system to help people get jobs they want so they can stay longer and have people that are more motivated, committed to their jobs. But what do? They don't use that system. They just ignore it. I mean, maybe I'm just the outlier. Maybe the system's really good and most people get what they want and they're good, and for some reason mine just didn't work out, and I don't know what decisions were made, but man, yeah, not good. It was I think it was like one of the first times they were using it though, with the bidding system, so maybe they'll just have to shake out the kinks, but I am not optimistic. I don't know if it's asking me to do this synchronously or asynchronously. I don't know if I need to do this in the async function or outside of it. The example did something outside of it, I think. No, I guess not. It went through the array inside, so I guess I'll do it inside. I don't know if you have access to food array. Again, I don't know if we have to like return food array in order to use it outside or not. I still haven't gotten the answer to that, but you'd think with all their like focus on like discipline and execution and I don't know. You'd think that the mentality of the military in general would at least output quality product. Whatever. I understand like not being fast to react, but like the mentality I would think would have a very good product, but I guess they do for more military related things, combat, but developing software, I guess, and mixing with the military mentality doesn't really work very well, apparently. Let food array equals that. I need to output an array. Console.log. That's here. This is why I need backticks, because if you use quotes, then the quote inside for the conjunction ends the string. So if I do that, then I can use quotes inside of the string. We're having now I could use the example and like iterate through this array with I and a for loop. Maybe I should just get the practice, but I've been doing this for too long now. So I'm just going to finish it and do food array. 0. A 1. Why is this different? I just haven't finished it. Why is that different? Why is that $sign not white? I didn't close this one. That's all I wanted. I have 4 of them. No. Literally. Thank you. It's just no copyright music. I listened to a little bit of it and it sounded alright, so I used it. The one I'm listening to, actually it literally just paused as I mentioned that. But if you this is what I listen to a lot. To work to. It's a lot of electronic. It's almost like retro retro-ish electronic music, but I like to find the ones that have animations. So this one's pretty good. Just kind of like driving along a road with a galaxy. And I think this is like a DeLorean. It's got all these switches. It looks kind of like the Back to the Future DeLorean. There's a couple really good ones. I really like this. I really like when they have animations, so I try to find those ones. This one looks kind of cool. I wish I could find like my most watch. Oh, it's a whole channel. This one was kind of cool. It was just kind of like a... It's like you're sitting in an apartment just watching the city go by, but it's almost like a retro... Is that full screen for you? If I click full screen, does that go full screen for you? Anyway. And then this one looks kind of cool. I'm trying to find my favorite one. I need to like save things as my favorites for the future. It's like this pulsating, glowing purple and orange city. I mean, maybe they're right. Maybe we're just not there yet. I don't know. History? You're watching all the videos that you're seeing all the videos that I've watched recently. No. Almost. There it is. This one. I love this one. It's all. It kind of has a what's that movie? That futuristic kind of movie. I don't know. It was a remake recently. Anyway, the car kind of flies around. It's kind of like dystopian. LAPD, so they're in LA, a future version of LA. But then you end up going around the city there. This is actually not the one I wanted. Damn it. Which, it's kind of cool. I mean, you got this stuff, but... Tron? I don't know. No, it was, damn, what was it? I can even... do you know the main guy actor in The Notebook? I know that's a weird reference to make, but... Harrison Ford was in the original, I think, and then this was either a remake or a continuation of it recently. That's the one I just clicked on. Well, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it because that's the one that that's the thumbnail that I was picturing. So I don't really know what the thumbnail looks like. Ryan Gosling. Yeah. Ryan Gosling. Blade Runner. Yeah, a lot of these have like a Blade Runner feel to them. I don't know, man. I can't find it. Oh well. But yeah, I listen to a lot of synthwave, as you can tell. They're really good just to have on in the background. But a lot of them probably have copyright in them, so that's why I have this playing for this video. Let's see. You need to use string interpolation and the values from the array returned from await. Alright, so I await a return from all of these promises, and then I don't think it's a strike. It might be, but I don't think it's a strike. It has an automatic algorithm that'll just disable your video. It did it once to me already. I don't think it was for copyright, but it was just for. It doesn't really tell you what it's for. It just said you violated our policy, so we disabled your video. I could have appealed it, but it said it wasn't giving me a strike on my account, and they said they were having a lot of issues with their algorithm because of coronavirus stuff. So I think they're trying to filter out misinformation on coronavirus. So all I did was just start another video because I figured it was just a mistake, because I hadn't even started yet. I was literally just testing the stream a couple days ago. It was just like me clicking around, and they said you violated our policy. So. Console.log, dinner is served. Dinner is served. And I forgot the and again. Fuck me. And that. Check work. I forgot the period. Yeah, that sounds good. Yay! Okay, great. Now let's see function in action. What time is it there now? It's after midnight. I think I'm done now. That was it. Yep, review. I completed async await. Alright, async await. What did I learn? This was new syntax, so ES6 is what's being used currently by most people, but the async await is ES8, which is the newer version of JavaScript that'll be incorporated as it gets developed. So async, you pull out this block of code and solve it asynchronously to the rest of the code. You use the await. The await pauses that async code block, but the rest of it will continue while you're waiting. That lets you run this like the async block just like synchronous code. Right, multiple await statements to produce code that reads like synchronous code. Try catch was the debugging thing to catch code, to catch errors in the asynchronous stuff. So if we have an async function and we put most of our code in the try block, and then we have a catch to output what kind of error we're seeing. Yeah. You mentioned you were going to go to bed soon, so I thought you were going to be gone a long time ago. We should still take advantage of currency. How long do you think this happened? Yeah, so we can string together promises in an async function if you want one to be dependent on the other, and have each of them have an await in front of it, so you're waiting for the last one to finish. Or you can put them all without awaits next to each other, so they all happen concurrently. Cool. Done with that. Oh, if you want to see, %done now. These last couple have gone really slow, partly because I was live streaming, but partly because it's gotten more difficult because these beginning stuff was very similar to what I did in MATLAB, arrays and loops and iterators, but objects were new, but they were fairly simple. But once you got into like classes, this was really interesting. Transpilation, promises. These have gotten a lot more complicated and harder to understand. So yeah, I have just requests. That's it. So I gotta do these 2 lessons in requests, and then I'm done with the intro. They have after that. So after that, I'm probably, well, go back. After that, I'm probably going to start going back and doing some of these things, which you need the subscription for. So I'm gonna probably pay for the subscription once I finish the lessons, and then I'm gonna do some of this stuff to practice them. These are projects that you can do, so get practice with promises and things. And then I didn't realize this until the day, but they have, I'm trying to remember where it is. My courses? So you can start whole career paths, and it'll send you through different, like Introduction to JavaScript is one course, but you can have different paths that teach you, like here's React, which is a type of JavaScript that's used for app development. So you can create a career. You can choose a skill path or I don't really know what the difference between these two are, skill path and career path, but you can choose a skill path for app development, and it'll take you through Introduction to JavaScript, and then app development, and then React.js part 1, and then React.js part 2, and probably a specific app development course. So I've got some other courses to take, but I've got to practice with some of those projects in the Intro to JavaScript first, and then they also have just extra projects that you can do. So career paths are super general, and I'm doing the web development career path. Specifically, I'm taking Intro to JavaScript right now, but React I'll need for app development. But then skill paths in particular, I wish I could easily filter this, but backend JavaScript, front-end app development with React, I'll do some of those, and then individual courses, JavaScript. There's a place with a lot of projects, a lot of, I don't know. Maybe it's just a compilation of all the ones that are within the lessons, but there's a place that I saw that listed all of the different cool projects that you can do. And then there's somewhere in the web development one, you could like create websites within Codecademy with code, HTML and JavaScript to create good looking websites in here and practice that. So yeah, I'll be going, I don't know what I'm going to do next, but the very next step is just to do a couple of the practices in the Intro to JavaScript thing. So I'll just do a couple of those projects in the places that I don't understand the most, and then I should be good after that. And then I should be good to start trying to make my own app or website, and then I'll probably learn what more I need once I start trying to create mine. So if I start trying to recreate my Riser website on my own, then I'll probably realize what other lessons I need in particular. But, yeah. All right, but I'm gonna go now because my brother and Nirav, I think, are both gonna jump on Halo, so I'm gonna go play some Halo. Yeah. Thank you for joining my live stream and being with me through this time of learning and discovery. Bye-bye. Enjoy your night. Go to sleep. Say hi to Guinevere for me. I don't remember where my live stream is. Oh, there it is.